This is the no BS guide to raising your vibration. And I'm really excited to talk about this because I love talking about the vibrational nature of reality. So this is going to be a good one. I can feel it. I know it. I'm really excited because once you really understand what's going on, you'll stop negotiating with reality and you'll start to get what you deserve. Speaking of what you deserve, I have an 8-week mastermind starting April 15th where we're going to be talking about, it's called Thriving Creator. And it's all about getting you to recognize that you are already a thriving creator. So if you're struggling with negotiating with reality, with pleading with reality, with begging with reality to get what you want, especially when it comes to your creative dreams, you want to be a creator full time, whatever that looks like. And you're tired of negotiating about what that means and what you have to do. And Thriving Creator is for you because what it's going to do is show you how you're already that and teach you how to stand in that energy. That's what I'm going to teach you how to do, stand in that energy. So if you're interested to learn more about what that program is, the link is down below. I am Beyond Taylor, and I am here to help you go. Sorry. And I am here to help you go beyond your self-imposed limitations. So in this video, we are going to be talking about what exactly is a vibrational reality. We're going to be talking about the implications of what that means. We're going to talk about how the no BS way to raise your vibration. And then we're going to be talking about the Beyond Self system, which is my unique system for how I support myself in maintaining my vibration and how I support my clients as well. So I'm going to be giving it to you guys, and I know that it will change your life. Okay, I know it. I just know it. Okay. I have to get like in a silly, goofy mood because if not, I get so serious and I'm like, "Arr!" And it's like, no, never, never can I be serious. I mean, I can be serious, but like, what's the fun in that? Even when I'm serious, I'm like, I'm playing being serious. Let's have fun. It's always about play. Secret. Okay, so this is a vibrational reality. What does that mean? I know you hear it all the time. Like, this is a vibrational reality. This is vibrational reality. You hear it so much that it starts to like lose the importance or lose the significance because you just hear it all the time. Frequency, raise your frequency, change your vibration. Like, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. But what the hell that got to do with me in my everyday life, right? You saying that, I can hear you. No, but seriously, it's everything because what you are experiencing all the time is not fluid. It is energy and motion. Always. Always energy in motion. So that means that it's malleable. And that's great news because if it's malleable, that means that it can shift according to what you want, what you deserve. Let me just say that. I don't even want to say what you want or what you need anymore. What you deserve. You came here to live an abundant, thriving, fulfilled, loving life. You did not come here to struggle and strife and figure things out. You've done that. You've done enough of the figuring things out. Oh, hold on, because I'm about to get into a riff. But you've like, come on. You've done enough healing. I know you feel like you got to heal this last thing before you can get it right, baby. You've struggled enough. You have the key now. Like, open the door because you got the key. So now it's time to open the door. And again, this is good news that everything is energy and motion and that it's so malleable because it will change. I mean, it does always change, right? Do things look the same now as they did an hour ago? I mean, maybe if you're sitting in the same room, but even then, like there's subtle differences. Things are always changing because everything is energy and motion because it's all vibrating. It's just all atoms vibrating. This is not just me. This is not just science. It's not just woo woo. Science has proven, I say not just science, I mean spirituality. Science has proven this. They've proven that, and this goes far, 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 far back, that everything is atoms. Like it's all atoms, building blocks. We got molecules, right? And then they form together, and then we have matter. And even our senses, they're like hearing is a wave. It's a wavelength. When we see frequencies, and then it creates a wavelength, and it sends signals to the brain. I'm not gonna act like I know all the science behind it, but you can check it out, baby. I'll link something down below to give you guys more information around what it means to be in the vibrational reality and the science behind it, because this is not just woo, it is facts. Think about it like this. When you look at a computer screen, your phone, you're looking at a bunch of icons. What you don't see is what's happening in the background in order, because those icons don't exist in the actual computer. Like when you open your phone and you see the Photos app, or you see even YouTube, right? There's no YouTube symbol in the computer itself. The phone is interfacing that symbol to make it user friendly. That's exactly what's happening now. Our brains are interpreting all of this energy that's going around us to make it user friendly. So what we see is not actually what's there. It's just the way that our brain is trying to make sense out of the chaoticness. Like, the universe is extremely chaotic. So it's creating order out of the chaos. That should let you know right there that you have a lot of wiggle room to play, because it's not what it appears. So how can you go further back to the like to go further back to the workings of the programming, right? Because what you're like, if you go further back in the phone, it's like a whole bunch of programmings that's showing you the YouTube symbol. You have a whole bunch of programmings that's showing you your reality. And if you change those programmings, the image that you look at will change. But it's all just vibration. It's all just energy. And the way that you are making sense out of the chaotic energy is through the programming that you have. And something else to keep in mind, just even going back to how we don't see everything, we see a very small fraction of reality, again, because it's just so chaotic. Like, imagine if we saw everything all at once. If you ever done psychedelics, you know how chaotic it can get when you take high dosages. Imagine navigating through life like that all the time. It would be too much. Right? Where do I begin and end? Like, who am I? I've said this before in a video, I'm going to say it again, but my friend said that the way that we interpret reality in this linear way is God's grace, your grace. You've gifted yourself with this structured way of viewing reality so that you can have the experience that you are having right now. Did you know that you want the experience that you are having right now? On some level you do. Maybe not consciously, but you do. So now it's time to like consciously go in and redo the programming so that you can consciously experience the reality that you deserve. You see, such a small fraction. And when I say things, or when other creators say things, like, you are already who you want to be. You already have access to what you want to have. Like, without getting too deep, because y'all know I do, but even without getting too deep, you know how a dog, like, or even a cat or other animals, they can sense things that we can't. And they hear in different pitches, like different frequencies, that they're picking up on different energetic vibrations that are happening in this reality. We don't sit there and go, oh, it's not there, because we can't see it, hear it, smell it, touch it, like, because we can't sense it. We just go, oh, I don't have the tools. The, my this body does not have the tools to, like, locate that energy, whatever the dog's hearing or the cat's hearing or whatever. But it's there. It's the same thing now. Like, your reality is here. It's in this moment right now. And you have the tools. You have the tools to get yourself in alignment, to shift your frequency so that you can vibrate on the same frequency as it, so that it appears in your reality, so that the interface changes, so that the code that you see no longer is what you see now, but it's more in alignment with who you truly are. And this is why when I say what you deserve, because a lot of you, what you're experiencing now, on some level it is. Ooh, I'm not gonna get that deep, because on some level it's I mean, not on some level, on the biggest level it's all perfect, but the programming has convinced you to think otherwise. But anyways, you have the tools to shift the frequency so that you can align with your preferred reality, and that it can start to reflect back to you. Goes back to the example of like a TV or a radio. Right now you are saying that you want more money, a better relationship, or just a loving relationship in general. You want better health, to look your best. You're saying you want these things, but and you're on 92.3, but you're vibrating on 92.3, which is constantly looking at the lack of it. Where your desire is on 107 point, like your desire is the energetic level of 107.5. So in order to get you from 92.3, like you cannot be on 92.3 expecting to hear the music from 107.5. Let's stick with the radio because I'm like combining the metaphors. You cannot be on 92.3 expecting to hear music from 107.5. You have to switch the dial to 107.5 in order to hear that station. Same way as you have to switch your dial, which is your frequency, to get to the station where your desire is waiting for you. It's already here. The frequency just has to shift. So this is where I come in and so many other amazing creators to remind you, shift your frequency, change your frequency. And I know for a lot of you are going to say, that's easier said than done. I've been working to change my frequency. And you do change your frequency, right? But it seems short-lived. You can get into the frequency, but what reality is showing you seems to have so much energetic pull that you can't help but respond to it and create that feedback loop of, I don't have it. Reality is showing me how I don't have it. I'm responding as if I don't have it. So then reality continues to show me more of how I don't have it. Instead of holding to the frequency of I have it, reality is showing me that I don't have it. But energetically, I have it. So now reality rearranges. The dial changes to put me on the same channel as my desire. And on the same channel, yeah, let's just stick there. Put you on the same channel as your desire. So the implications of this is everything, because that means that you have the power to change your entire life, to change your circumstances. It's always changing anyway. It's time for them to change in your favor, to change for your benefit. And again, on the highest level, it is always changing for your benefit. Everything that you've been through has led you to this moment. It was exactly what you needed to be here. But now Spirit is telling me to tell you, ooh, I'm getting emotional. You've done enough. Now it's time for you to reap. You don't have to struggle anymore. You don't have to. It's okay to just trust that you are deserving of what you desire because you exist. And if you could just allow yourself to be there, to rest in that, oh, how surprised you would be by how quickly and how beautifully things start to shift, how much joy you start to rest in and have, how much life becomes like a play, a dream, a lucid dream. You become lucid in the waking dream. When you stop feeling like you still have to do X, Y, and Z in order to get it. Who told you that? That's a belief. And what do we know about what beliefs do? They program the mind, and they program the mind to see images in reality that are not there. It's infinite potentiality. The program is creating that symbol the same way the programming in your phone is creating that YouTube symbol. That YouTube symbol is not in your phone. If you open your phone right now, you will not find the YouTube symbol. But the programming made the symbol appear on the screen. If you open you right now, you would just find empty space. Oh, you would find organs and all that, but if you just keep that's it, you just keep cutting it more and more and more and more, you get to the point where there's just space, nothingness. And not nothingness as there's no like void, but nothingness is like no thing, because it's filled with everything. And that's who you are, my love. So by raising your vibration, you see that more and more, that you are this everything. You are this everything. So now you can start to pick thoughts that are going to support the reality that you want to create for yourself. When I first heard Abraham Hicks, it was 2018. I was in a very dire situation. I had just got into spirituality, I would say, around this time as well. And I was like into Eckhart Tolle, like listen to the power of now, whatever, whatever. And I think she just like came up on my like feed, like recommendations, and I listened to it and I was like, oh, I love this. Like I'm the creator of my reality. And me and my boyfriend at the time, I was in a very abusive relationship. We were about to get evicted. And at that time I was like, okay, I'm about to use these teachings so we don't get evicted. It was so new though, right? And I was so like there was so much heavy conditioning that it was difficult for me to maintain the frequency of what I was calling in. So I would say like, and I remember I was telling my boyfriend, and he was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, all we have to do is believe. All we have to do is believe that we're gonna be taken care of. But then he would react, and I would react, and then I would get like really scared and fearful, and I was like hearing her words, but I think this year, and of course, right, you mature, you go through life, things are always going to just like the message gets refined more and more. So like I listened to an Abraham video the other day and I was like, this is what she said, this is what she's talking about. Oh my god, like I've been listening to Abraham for years, like not consistently, but I'll listen to her videos here and now. But I feel like I listened to her video the other day, and today I listened to another one of her videos and I was like, oh my God. Yes. It's so obvious. Like it's so obvious this is exactly what's going on. But back then I was not in a space like it sounded good. It motivated me, but I could not hold the frequency because I could not let go of my stories. Not consciously, but I could not let go of my stories. I could not let go of my trauma. Even when I wanted to, even when I'm going to focus on feeling good, I would react and respond. I didn't know how to stop doing that. Whatever. Why did I bring that up? I don't even remember. But, oh, I brought that up just to say that this message is going to keep getting refined the higher you go up in your vibration, right? That's why, I have this book. I've talked about this book before that I read. Rupert Spira. I love Rupert Spira. Rupert Spira, I think that's how you say his name. Rupert Spira, I love him. He talks about non-duality. And depending, like I will open that book to see where I am at energetically, because if I can't understand what he's saying, I know that I've like went down in vibration, like my frequency is below where I'm used to, like my baseline. Because typically it's easy for me to read the book and understand what's going on and like know what he's saying, and like when I really know what he's saying, I know that I'm vibrating really high. So that's a good way for me to see where I'm at. And like, you're not always going to, it just gets refined. That was my point. The information continues to refine as you raise your vibration. And how are you going to do that? The no BS way to do that, with the moment you've been waiting for. Let's get into it. So I am about to bring up The Map of Consciousness by David R. Hawkins. If you have not, I don't even know how this is going to be reflected off that, but if you have not read his book, Power versus Force, he also has this book called Letting Go. He also has this book called Transcending the States of Consciousness. Love David Hawkins down. He talks a lot about consciousness, about this map. I'm sure you've seen this map everywhere. And what this is, and I'll put it also on the screen so you guys can look at it with me. It is it's showing like the energetic log, and in this energetic log is showing our emotional state, our view of life. Now what this shows us is, again, everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. Light vibrates at a certain frequency, matter vibrates at a certain frequency, sound is a certain frequency. You have the different hertz. Everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. Depending on the frequency that is vibrating on, it becomes like a magnet and it attracts similar things similar to that frequency, right? So when you are in a survival paradigm, like I was for a very, very long time, up until I would say a couple years ago, or when I first got into law of assumption, I got out of the survival. And I started to move into like reason and integrity. But within the last, I would say, like year, I've definitely moved up into the spiritual paradigm. And this is from a individual standpoint, not from consciousness. And that's what we're about to talk about. So if you look at this map, what you see is that the highest level on the consciousness scale is the enlightenment scale, right? The view of life is. Self, as you see God view, is self, pure consciousness. The way you're going to raise your vibration is recognizing that you are always in that state, which means you are always at the highest vibration now. This map is pertaining to the separate self. The separate self is who you believe yourself to be. And all the separate self is just a collection of beliefs, memories, emotions, sensations. That's it. On their own, a belief on its own is nothing. A sensation on its own is nothing. A memory on its own is nothing. Perceiving, like just tasting, touching, smelling, that on its own is nothing. But what happens is that through just living, these things start to like collect, interwove, like they become interwoven, right? And we weave together an identity constantly, like on their own. Imagine them as threads. I heard this analogy the other day and it clicked for me. Imagine all these things as threads. You have a belief, that's a thread. Another belief, that's a thread. Memory, thread. Sensation, thread. Taste, thread. And all these sensations are just constantly coming in and out of you as the isness, the self, the pure consciousness, enlightenment, because you're always in that state, because you're aware. Are you aware? Yes, you're aware, or you wouldn't have heard me ask that question. You're aware. You're always aware, which means you are never not in the highest state of consciousness. But what happens is that you take yourself to be the identity, because the threads they start like they start connecting. You start creating a material. Let's say you create a rug, because there's just so many beliefs and memories and sensations that are just being interwoven, that you make a full rug. And this full rug, you've taken it to be yourself. But all it is a bunch of threads. And then once you start plucking them away bit by bit by bit by bit, you'll see that what's left is space. Or a sweater. That was the way I heard it. Like you craft a sweater with all these threads about who you believe yourself to be. But if you look in that sweater, you'll just see empty space. You start to pluck those threads off one by one, you're left with space. Not empty space, because the space is full, but you're left with space. That is what you actually are. But you've taken yourself to be this individual because of everything that you've experienced in your life, and because your subconscious is a recording device. It's just recording everything. Everything is recording it. And then it's like sending the information to you in the form of your reality. So then you start to, because you are taking yourself to be this separate self, you take on the qualities of being a body, which means that you are operating in this world of form, in this world of frequency. Who you truly are goes beyond frequency, which is why this map is cool. It comes close, but understand this map is about the individualized self, and it is not about the truth. But what it's pointing to is that we have the ability to get to the truth, which means just to remember and recognize. And the way we do that is by seeing through all the lower vibrations, right? Being able to pluck through them, remove these blockages that's preventing us from seeing this truth. Because deep down, you know what I'm saying is 100% facts. But you have the beliefs that are like, but maybe. How do you know that those thoughts are saying, but maybe? There's something observing it. And that's something that's observing, that's always observing your experience. I was talking to my client, Stacy, the other day. Shout out to you, Stacy. Love you. Love Stacy down. Talked to her the other day. And I asked her, I said, oh, what did you dream about the other night? And she said, oh, I dreamed. And I said, oh, and what did you do yesterday? She said, I went. I said, who is this I you're referring to? She said, oh, I'm this, and I like to dress this way, and I got my hair like this. And I said, you're describing to me, I want to know the characteristics of this I. What is this I beyond, like, not using any senses? Tell me about this I. She said, I guess I would just say that I am present. I said, let's just even knock off the present and just say I am. That's who you are. That's who we all are, right? We all say I am. Who are you? I am this. Everybody says it. I am. What is that I going back to? What did you dream about last night? You're going to say, I dreamed this. Who is that I that you're referring to? What did you do yesterday? I did this. Who is that I that you're referring to? And if you start telling me about yourself, I'm going to be like, it's just not consistent enough for me, because how is that I, like, and this is the same I that, like, tell me about a birthday party that you had when you were 5, or what did you do for your birthday when you were 10? Well, I did this. Okay, so tell me about that I. Is it a different I than this I? And because if you tell me that who you are, if I say, well, who are you? You say, I am my age and my name and my occupation. But it's not a different I than the one you were 5. So what is it? What is this I that doesn't change, but what it identifies with continues to change? That's it. That's how you raise your vibration, is by constantly remembering that. But let's refer back to the scale, because you have a subconscious that's just recording everything. What you see over and over and over again becomes a belief. It becomes a condition about the way life functions. And because you take yourself to be the body and the mind, which is gonna happen, because the belief is deeply rooted, right? You have other people that are constantly affirming to you that you are the body and your thoughts are real, because they are their body and their thoughts are real. So if you take that away from them, they will, like, hurt you. Okay, they really will. Like, nobody wants to hear this unless they're ready, right? Don't throw pearls at swine, not because they're swine and they're disgusting, but because what the hell they gonna do with it. Same thing with people with this message. So when it comes to raising your vibration, what we're going to do is understand that, like, if you are operating in a survival paradigm like I was for many, many years, see that the I is not. Like I said, I doesn't change, but you perceive change. So when you recognize that you have these thoughts, they don't belong to you. They're just in your awareness. You have this thought, allow it to come and go. The way you're going to do that is like meditation. Like, meditation really allows you to come into the practice of doing this in your everyday life, because when you're in meditation, you have a focal point that you're focusing on. You focus on that focal point, and then when your mind wanders, you bring it back. So then you see that, like, thoughts are going to come and go, sensations are going to come and go, but you have a focal point that you can always return to. And when you do that, start to do that in your regular life, and by returning to, like, the I am, which is by focusing on the breath. We're going to talk about that in the Beyond Self system. Then it's going to be easier to release these survival paradigm, lower state of consciousness emotions, and to move up in the scale by simply observing. Also, it's important to reprogram, right? Because everything that you see is a programming. It's just conditioned. It's nothing but energy, infinite potentiality. That's it. It's just energy. But your programming is creating these images. They aren't there in reality. So shift the programming. How do we shift the programming? Well, first, we got to get out the survival paradigm. But if we're in a survival paradigm, it's going to be really difficult to shift the programming. So ways to do that, again, meditation. See the thoughts come and go. But while you're seeing the thoughts come and go, start choosing better thoughts. What is it that you want? Tell that you have it now. Tell yourself that you are happy and thriving and, like, love life now. All you got to do is tell yourself that enough times, over enough, a long enough period or short enough period, however long it takes for your subconscious to accept the information, for it to happen. The best way for you to get your subconscious to accept information is to do it in a state where your conscious mind isn't as active. So that's, like, states why people in, like, who perform hypnosis, they get people to go down to, like, the like, alpha level, because right now you're in beta, conscious state, logical state, rational state, problem solving state, thinking state, right? When you get your mind to go down to, like, theta, alpha, the conscious mind is not as active. So now it's much easier to program it without the conscious mind saying, ooh, no, ooh, I like this, ooh, yes, no. Like, no, because the subconscious mind does not do that. The subconscious mind says yes to everything. So just start programming it with what you want in those states. I have so many videos about how to get to that state. If you want a specific video about, just like a video all about how to get to SATs, into that hypnotic state, into those different brain waves, let me know down below. But really, meditate, relaxing, resting. This is why it's best to do it right before you're about to go to bed, or just like when you got some free time, you're not doing nothing, and you can just relax. I'm probably talking a bit too fast. I'm excited. I told y'all I love talking about this. Okay, I really, really do. So yeah, reprogram the subconscious mind, or I like to say deprogram the subconscious mind. Because when you start to vibrate, like, you don't think thoughts. Notice that. Like, notice that in meditation. You notice that right now. If I told you stop thinking for 5 minutes total, would you be able to do it? Probably not, because you don't think thoughts. You are the receiver of thoughts. thoughts are just constantly being signaled to you, and you can know what vibration you are at based on the thoughts that you are receiving. Doesn't mean that you're doomed there. It's just feedback, information. Oh, this is where I am because these are thoughts that I'm thinking. Let me change my vibration by reprogramming my subconscious mind, and then noticing thoughts that are opposed to what I am claiming as mine now, what I know is mine now. Because like once you start to deprogram the subconscious mind and just go into your natural state of the I am, which is like already whole, enough, plentiful. Like look at the space in your room. Do you lack space in the room? Anywhere you go, is there ever a lack of space? Is the space agitated? Is the space lack? Like, does the space feel lack? Does the space feel not worthy? Does the space feel like it lacks love? No. The space holds room for all of that. You are the space in which this experience is appearing in, but you are confusing yourself with the appearances, even though they're constantly coming and going, but you don't. So, how could you lack? Look at the space in the room. Plentiful, no agitation, no discomfort, right? So when you start to vibrate higher, you become you deprogram the mind by becoming as you truly are, and then you naturally start to attract thoughts that are in alignment with what you want. You don't have to like force yourself to think. It's just like naturally going to come to you, all the creative ideas, right? I'm going through the artist way. I know I'm going through the artist way now, and she's like, there's no lack of creative ideas. You're just not a funnel for them, or you're not a vibrational match to them. So yeah. Ooh, baby, I could talk about this forever. Let me start to wrap this up because it's getting a bit long. So yeah, you start to vibrate higher and higher, and then you can enter the spiritual paradigm where, and you can just reside there. You don't have to have a full blown like lose the idea, like the separate self dissolves, like that doesn't have to happen as an experience. You could just play in love, joy, peace, and enlightenment by knowing that like you are the I am. Now, you know what a lot of Buddhists do, and mystics and traditions like that, they want to really completely dissolve the self. Me too. That's like, and Neville got to that point too. You know, he talks about the promise. Like it became less about the material world and more about like playing in the spiritual world. That's something that I am deeply passionate about and engaged in, is playing in the spiritual world, but I don't neglect the material world either. And I'm also like a channel to let my people know that like you got this power. Like yes, and you could change the material world, but let's not get stuck here. But like let's do it so you can have fun and like tire yourself out, so then we can go to like other planes of existence and like play there as well, you know. So yeah, that's the no BS way, is recognize that the I am that you constantly say does not change. You are already in the highest vibration, and you just have these thoughts that are preventing you from seeing that. And when you can just be aware of that, as soon as you're like aware of a thought that's like doubting, that's like a thought within like guilt, shame, grief, apathy, fear, craving, right? I don't have, so I desire. Anger, pride. As soon as you're aware of the thought, you've already raised your frequency. That's it. Like it's as simple as being aware of the thought. The extra work comes in with like reprogramming the subconscious mind, but I want you to do that from the place of already being in these high frequencies. So last but not least is the beyond self system. So what the beyond self system is oh sorry, it's a system that I created, because again I come from a non-dual background at Vita Vedanta, and it's all about like dissolving the separate self. But for me, that didn't completely resonate because I'm like, I'm still Taylor, like I still answer to Taylor, and there's still an experience here, so I'm not going to deny that. Because a lot of times non-duality can go a bit towards suppressing to certain individuals if they don't fully understand, right? It's all about refining the message. And I also love conscious creation, as you guys can see. Super excited to talk about it. So for me, I created a system that allows you to go beyond the self while still playing in the reality creation game. And what that involves is step one is focusing on your breath. So when you are triggered, actually, I would say doing this as a practice, like 15 minutes a day would really help. But also when you're triggered, when you notice that like you're not in a like good space, and you always know based on how you feel, when you're not in a good space, go to the breath, focus on the breath until you feel a bit more grounded. Once you feel grounded, by just doing some deep belly breathing and like deep belly breathing, like belly, bring it up to the chest, and then exhale. Just doing those over and over and over and over once you're grounded. And if you got to do that for 15 minutes and just do the breathing, right? And then once you feel grounded, notice that you are aware of the breathing, right? So as you're breathing, the breathing is coming and going, but you are not. The awareness is not coming and going. Like there's, and I hear that. Who is it that hears? Don't even ask the question. Just notice. It's very subtle, but notice. Like right now, you're aware of me. You don't have to second guess it or try to look for it. You just know that you're aware of the sound of my voice. Do the same thing with breathing. Just become aware of it. That's step 2, is becoming aware of your breath. Then I want you to start becoming aware of your thoughts. Notice that just like the breath is coming and going, so is your thoughts. And then see, are these thoughts in alignment with a reality that I want to experience? If they are, great. Enjoy that. Go back to the breath. Notice that you are not even those thoughts. You are aware of those thoughts. And just feel into the deliciousness and the fulfillment of what that is. If the thoughts are not in alignment with what you want to create, sorry, this chair is super creaky. If the thoughts are not in alignment with what you want to create, then what I want you to do is, because you have that space now, you're just the awareness, see if there's better thoughts to choose from. And even if it's not like the opposite of, like, let's say you have a thought that's like, oh my God, I have this bill coming up, I don't have any money, and you see that thought just like keep coming up because like picking at you. Or you have a thought that's like, oh my God, I really want to like blow up in my field, or I really want to be recognized and known. See that thought, see it. And maybe the opposite thought isn't like, I'm well known, I'm recognized, or I am abundant. Like if that doesn't feel as good, or if that's not available to you, then just like go to a thought that feels good, that's available to you in a moment, that feels better than the thought that's there. Or that's gonna be better in alignment with the reality that you want to create than the thought that's there. And then take your attention there, because you're just the awareness. You don't have to stay with that thought. Shift your awareness to that thought, and then stay there, and then like milk it, get into the momentum of that thought, right? And then once you've like felt that and it feels good, or if it doesn't feel good, you just milk the thought. That's okay too. Go back to the fact that you're just observing it. You are not it. You're just observing it. And then you just repeat. You just keep repeating that until the timer goes off 15 minutes, or you feel grounded. And then go about your day. That's how you're going to go beyond the self and still create a reality that you love. My system, I do it. That's what I teach my clients how to do, and they've gotten amazing results. It's possible for you. Okay, but that's all I got. This is long, but I love long, because I told y'all this is my topic. I love talking about this. So that's all I got. Check out everything down below. Also, if you are interested, I do it for like more intimate mentorship. I do offer one-on-one. It's called the Enlightened Conscious Creator, because it's all about recognizing that you are already enlightened now. You are already who you desire to be now, and I help you maintain and stay in that frequency. While also, like I said, I'm a bit like excuse me. I'm a bit system minded, so I'm all about systems, and I have that structure with like holding you accountable to what you are creating, and just like operating in this dance of duality, because baby, I do it well. Okay, that's all I got. I love you guys. See you soon. Bye.